if Python keeps breaking on your machine, it's usually is not your Python, it's the environment. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to set up the PyCharm project with correct way of installing Python version and also explaining what is environment in your project. So here you can see the welcome screen for the PyCharm, and you want to set up a new project. So in project and files, you click on new project, and then here you can define a name for your project. For example, I'm gonna say Python setup. So in the interpreter, which is the most important part of defining a new project, I personally go with virtual environment, which is VNV, and here by default it selects the most updated Python version, which is Python 3.14, and it is already installed in my system. But I'm gonna use a lower version for Python. For example, I'm gonna go with Python 3.9, and it is already installed. Let me see if I can find. Okay, yeah. For example, here Python 3.10 and 11. It's not installed in my system, so if I select, it's going to download and install it. So let's create, and here you can see that it's installing Python 3.10.11. So about 1 minute left, maybe sooner. So the idea is for each project, you're going to install one specific Python version, which is the Python interpreter of your project. So it's done very fast. So let's see the project files. In your project, you have a main folder, which is Python setup. That's the name of project you define. And I would say the most important file of your project is .venv, which is the virtual environment of your project. So why it is important? Because that's the single environment you define for your project. Means that you should not have multiple virtual environment for your project. You should have only one. And this virtual environment is linked to that Python version as well. So let's go to the terminal. That's the PyCharm terminal, and you can see that virtual environment is also showing here, which means that every package, Python package that you install will be installed inside this virtual environment. So once again, you have only one single virtual environment. Let's first pull the Python version. By typing Python version, I can print the Python version inside this virtual environment, which is Python 3.10, and I can also list all existing Python package inside this virtual environment. So far I have only pip, which is a package manager that you can use it to install other packages. For example, if I want to install specific package, for example, the request, pip install request, and then you see that successfully install this request Python package. So once again, let's list all listing and installed Python package. So you can see that the request package is installed in your virtual environment. And you can also see that if you go to the virtual environment folder, library folder, lib, and you can see the request folder is here, which you install it using pip. Yeah, so that's one way to install a specific package, but I personally usually write a text file calling requirements. That's a more professional way to install package. So requirements file is empty. Obviously, that's true. So you can list any Python package you want for your project. And why this is a more professional way, because you can share your requirements with your teammates. So all of your team members recreate specific virtual environment. So you don't want to have different virtual environment for each member, because that will cause future uh, consistency errors. So for example, the requirements text file includes NumPy and pandas module. You can list any more, but for testing, let's keep it simple. So if you wanna install these requirements text file with pip, you type pip install requirements text file, and then you enter. You see that the NumPy is going to be installed, and then pandas as well. You see that successfully installed NumPy and also pandas as well. So let's in the package in this virtual environment. You see that the NumPy is installed, pandas are also installed as well. So the NumPy version is 2.2.6, and the pandas version that is installed in your virtual environment is 2.3.3. So maybe you want to work with different NumPy version, because some functions may have a different package version uh, dependency. So for example, if you insist on a specific version of NumPy, you can type your version like this. So that equal 2.3. So that's for the NumPy 2.2. So you already have 2.2.6. Maybe you want to downgrade to 5. And for pandas, you already installed 2.3.3. So maybe you wanna also downgrade to 2.3.1. So let's install again. So you don't need to delete this existing uh, package. If you just reinstall the requirements, you can see that it's going to uninstall the NumPy. Here, uninstalling NumPy 2.2.6, and then it will install the new version of NumPy 2.2.5, and also new version of Pandas 2.3.1, which you ask for. And if you pip list to prove that the NumPy version 2.2.5 and Pandas version 2.3.1. So this way you can have very specific virtual environment that each Python package has its own version. Even the Python version that you define at the beginning of your project has its own version. The last thing that I want to talk about in this video is in the setting in Python, in the interpreter, you can see that the Python 3.10 is your Python interpreter. If by any chance you wanted to change that, you can do it in your existing project. I don't recommend that usually. That may cause some future issues. But you can do that. You can add local interpreter and you can change the Python version here as well. Yeah, so that's a more complicated way of changing Python version. So I'm not going to talk about that, but that's most important point in defining a project in PyCharm. And remember that you need to have a one single virtual environment, and every package installation and dependency will be linked to this virtual environment. I hope that this video was useful to all of you, and thanks for watching.